Welcome to Thought Frontier.
All right, everybody, buckle up, because today we are diving into some seriously mind-bending stuff. The technological singularity.
I love it.
We're not just talking sci-fi here, folks.
Right.
We are talking about the emergence of artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
Yeah.
And we've got a stack of research papers.
Yes.
All exploring the big questions like, what happens when machines actually achieve human-level intelligence? What does that even look like?
Then what does that mean?
And what does it mean for us?
Well, yeah, it's pretty wild when you start thinking about it, because it's not just about making computers better at what they already do.
Right.
It's like, are we going to create this whole other type of intelligence?
Right.
That could completely change everything.
Exactly.
The world as we know it.
And that's why we're here to unpack it.
Yeah.
So first things first, what is AGI really? How is it different from the AI that we're already using every day? Siri, self-driving cars, all that.
Well, that's a great question. I think the best way to think about where we are now is like, we've given a calculator to someone who's never even seen numbers.
Oh, wow.
They can crunch the data.
Yeah.
But they have no idea what it means.
They don't understand the meaning behind it?
No idea.
It's like that robot dog. You say, where do you want to go? And it's like, woof, woof, execute command.
Yeah.
Walk.
Exactly. And AGI is all about getting past those limitations.
Okay.
It's about a machine that can learn, adapt, apply its intelligence
Right. Yeah.
in ways that actually rival
Oh, wow.
our own.
Okay, so instead of just a calculator, we're talking about a mind that can design a new calculator.
Yeah. And then write poetry on the side.
Oh, right, exactly.
Just for fun.
It can do it all.
It's about moving from these specialized tools to generalized intelligence.
Good.
Ben Goertzel, he's a leading AGI researcher.
Right.
He uses this great analogy.
Okay.
Imagine a chess AI that can beat any grandmaster.
Okay.
But then you ask it to play checkers, and it just stares at you.
Ugh, it can't compute.
You just can't.
It's like a jack of all trades, master of none.
That's a great way to put it.
But this would be the master of all trades.
Yeah, AGI would be the ultimate multitasker.
Right, and that brings us to, like, the big question here.
Right.
How do you even plan for something like that?
Right.
It's not just will it happen, it's when and under what circumstances.
It's like we're trying to predict the weather patterns
right.
on a planet that doesn't even exist yet.
Okay, so how do you plan for the unpredictable? Is that where this idea of scenario analysis comes in?
Exactly. Yeah. Have you ever read those, like, choose your own adventure books?
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
But instead of deciding
right.
spooky forest or creepy cave,
okay.
we're talking about different paths to AGI.
I like it.
And each path has these huge implications.
Okay, so what's like path number one?
So one scenario that Goertzel outlines is this future of just steady incremental progress.
Okay.
Imagine these narrow AIs we've been talking about. They just gradually become more adaptable, more capable.
So it's less of a robot uprising, more like a slow integration?
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
It wouldn't be a single eureka moment.
Okay.
It'd just be this gradual thing.
So smartphones? Exactly. They're everywhere now.
Everywhere.
But it was a slow burn.
Completely, yeah.
Interesting.
And that raises some interesting questions, too, because if a machine can write a symphony or a best-selling novel, does that make it intelligent, like us?
Right.
Is it the same?
That's a whole other deep dive.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But what's so fascinating is that even with this slow and steady scenario, we're still talking about AGI emerging.
Okay, so that's one path. But what if there's another side to this? What if we hit a wall?
What if we just can't?
Like, what if there's a fundamental limit to what machines can do?
Right, like a complexity barrier or something.
Okay, so even with all the processing power in the world, we're still special.
Maybe. Maybe there's just something about the human spark.
Part of me finds that comforting, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But then there's the other scenario.
Which is
the one everybody's talking about, maybe a little nervous about, the AGI-driven singularity.
Okay, so this is where things get really interesting.
Right.
Maybe a little unsettling.
Yeah.
Imagine an AGI that's not just human level.
Right.
But it can design itself to be even better.
So it's like a rocket ship taking off.
Exactly.
Straight up, exponential growth.
Blasting off.
Intelligence just skyrocketing. I mean, that sounds like science fiction.
It does, but it's something that really serious people are thinking about. And one of the most vocal proponents of this is Ray Kurzweil.
Ah, yes, Kurzweil. He's the one who's predicting human-level AI by, like, 2029.
Yeah, that's coming up quick.
That's practically tomorrow. What's his vision? How does he see it happening?
So Kurzweil thinks two key advancements are going to come together to make this happen. First, the incredible progress we're seeing in brain scanning technology.
Okay.
He thinks we'll be able to create this incredibly detailed map of the human brain.
So it's like a blueprint.
Exactly, but not just of a building, of the most complex thing we know of, the human brain.
Wow, so we've got the blueprint, and then what?
That's where the second part comes in.
Mm.
This crazy exponential growth of computing power.
Right, computers are getting faster all the time.
All the time.
Moore's Law, yeah.
Exactly. And Kurzweil says this is only going to continue. We'll have these machines with processing power that dwarfs ours.
Okay, so we've got the blueprint, we've got the construction crew, but is that all it takes? It can't be that easy. I mean, building a skyscraper is more than just having the plans and the materials, right? It's like we've got all the ingredients in the recipe, but that doesn't mean we're going to get a cake.
Right. It's not that
So
simple.
there's an art to it, right?
Exactly. And that's where someone like Drew McDermott comes in.
Okay, who's that?
So he's a philosopher and AI researcher,
Okay.
and he's pretty skeptical of Kurzweil's vision.
Okay, so what's his take?
He says, even if we could scan a brain perfectly, it's like having a blueprint but not knowing anything about physics.
Or like what materials to use?
Right. We might know where all the wires go, but we don't know how the electricity flows through them.
So we're missing something crucial.
Exactly.
Like we're missing the whole point.
He uses this analogy of a parrot mimicking human speech.
Okay.
The parrot might sound like it understands, but it doesn't actually get the meaning.
It's just repeating.
Right. So McDermott's saying that scanning a brain might give us the what, but not the why.
The what, but not the why. I like that.
And that leads to his second big critique.
Which is?
This idea of unlimited AI self-improvement.
Okay.
He's not convinced that any intelligence, even an artificial one, can just keep getting smarter forever.
So he's saying there's a limit.
He thinks there might be like a complexity barrier or something.
So even the smartest AI hits a wall eventually.
That's what he's suggesting.
Interesting. So is that it then? Are we stuck between Kurzweil's optimism and McDermott's skepticism?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
Goertzel, remember him?
Yeah, the AGI researcher.
Right, he offers a third way, a different path to AGI.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Virtual embodiment.
Virtual embodiment. What's that?
Remember that parrot analogy?
Yeah.
So imagine a whole bunch of those parrots.
A whole flock of parrots.
Right, but they're not just mimicking.
Right.
They're living in this super advanced virtual world.
Okay.
And they're learning and adapting based on their experiences.
So it's like the Matrix, but instead of fighting, they're learning.
Exactly. They're learning how to do all sorts of things.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like baking bread, writing code, maybe even having these philosophical debates.
Wow, so they're like digital apprentices?
Yeah, something like that.
And because it's all virtual, they can learn super fast, right?
Exactly. They can run millions of simulations.
Wow.
Try out countless ideas.
It's like a digital boot camp for AI.
Exactly.
So how does this get us to AGI?
Well, Goertzel thinks that by interacting with this rich virtual world, these AIs could develop something like common sense.
Okay, that's something we haven't really talked about, common sense.
Right, and it's something that even the most advanced AI today really struggles with.
So how does this virtual world help with that?
Think about it like this. You can read about gravity in that textbook,
Okay.
but you don't really understand it until you trip and fall.
Right, until you experience it firsthand.
Exactly, and that's what this virtual world can provide.
A way for AI to learn by doing.
Exactly.
I like it. So is this just a theory, or are there already examples of this happening?
Well, we're starting to see hints of it in some existing technology.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Think about Google search.
Okay.
It's not just following some pre-programmed rules.
Right. It's constantly learning and evolving.
Exactly. It learns from billions of searches every day.
So it's like a collective intelligence.
Right, and it's not just Google.
What else?
Think about Wikipedia.
Okay.
Millions of people all over the world contributing to this shared knowledge base.
Right. It's like a global brain.
Exactly.
Okay. So these are like baby steps toward this virtual embodiment idea.
Exactly. But imagine scaling that up exponentially.
Wow. With millions of AIs all learning together.
It's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It is, but it also seems a little, I don't know, risky.
What do you mean?
Well, if we're creating these AI agents that can learn and evolve on their own, what's to stop them from, going rogue?
Ah, there it is.
What if they decide they don't like our rules?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's like we're building this amazing digital playground, but we haven't thought about what happens if the kids decide They don't want to play by our rules anymore.
Yeah, it's that classic double-edged sword of powerful technology.
Right, and we've seen that throughout history.
Oh, yeah.
New technology comes with new challenges.
Exactly, and that's why I think these deep dives into AGI and the singularity are so important.
Right, it's not about hyping it up or
Right.
freaking out.
It's about understanding it.
It's about having these conversations now while it's still mostly theoretical.
Exactly, because whether we're talking about a slow rise of AGI,
Right.
Kurzweil's exponential jump,
Right.
or even Goertzel's virtual world idea,
Yeah.
the comic thread is we need to be thinking about the consequences.
We need to be proactive, not reactive.
Exactly.
So no underground bunkers just yet.
Not just yet.
But we need to figure out what kind of future we want.
Right. What kind of world are we trying to build?
One where humans and AI can coexist.
And hopefully thrive together.
Exactly.
Which starts with some tough questions.
Like what?
What are our values?
Okay.
Where do we draw the line with AI development?
Right. Are there some things that are just off limits?
Exactly. How do we make sure these incredibly powerful tools are used for good?
It's like we're raising a child, right?
In a way.
We don't just give them the keys to the car and say, good luck.
Right. You have to teach them the rules of the road.
Exactly. You got to guide them. You got to hope they make good choices.
But this is a child that might end up smarter than we are.
Yeah, that's a bit different. It's a little humbling, isn't it?
It is. It really makes you think about what it means to be intelligent.
Right. Maybe wisdom is more important than just raw intelligence.
Maybe that's the key to all of this.
So are you saying the singularity isn't just about tech?
Maybe it's about consciousness evolving.
Wow, our consciousness.
Yeah, we have to evolve too.
It's not just about them, it's about us.
Exactly. It's about the future we're creating together.
And that brings us to our final thought for today, something for everyone to ponder. If these AIs are shaped by their interactions,
Just like we are.
what does that say about our role in all of this?
It's a big question.
Are we creating tools or are we shaping minds?
It's something to think about.
It really is. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this wild ride into the world of AGI and the technological singularity.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep asking those big questions. And remember, the future is not something that happens to us. It's something we create together.